Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namaha Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Shri Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhuvya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So Hare Krishna, dear devotees, dear Prabhujis, we are reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 2, contents of the Gita summarized. And in our last session we read the 58th verse. Now we are going to read the 59th verse. Another very beautiful verse from Bhagavad Gita. So Lord Shri Krishna, he continues and he says to Arjunji, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasvarjam rasoapiyasya param drishtva nivartate. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah rasvarjam rasoapyasya param drishtva nivartate. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah rasvarjam rasoapyasya param drishtva nivartate. Vishayaha, objects for sense enjoyment, vinivartante, are practiced to be refrained from. Niraharasya, by negative restrictions. Dehinaha, for the embodied. Rasavarjam, giving up the taste. Rasaha, sense of enjoyment. Api, although there is. Asya, his. Param, far superior things. Drishtva, by experiencing. Drishtva, by experiencing. Nivartate, ceases from. The embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. Param drishtva nivartate. Ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste. Param drishtva. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasoapiyasya param drishtva nivartate. The embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste for sense object remains. Rasoapyasya, rasavarjam, from sense enjoyment. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. Param drishtva nivartate. So Swami Srila Prabhupada, he explains in the purport, unless one is transcendently situated, it is not possible to cease from sense enjoyment. The process of restriction from sense enjoyment by rules and regulations is something like restricting a diseased person from certain types of eatables. The patient, however, neither likes such restrictions nor loses his taste for eatables. Similarly, sense restriction by some spiritual process like Ashtanga Yoga in the matter of Yam, Niyam, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, etc. is recommended for less intelligent persons who have no better knowledge. But one who has tasted the beauty of the Supreme Lord Krishna in the course of his advancement in Krishna consciousness no longer has a taste for dead material things. Therefore, restrictions are there for the less intelligent neophytes in the spiritual advancement of life. But such restrictions are only good if one actually has the taste for Krishna consciousness. When one is actually Krishna conscious, he automatically loses his taste for pale things. So very beautiful verse, Lord Shri Krishna, he is explaining to Arjunji the symptoms of a person who is situated in divine consciousness, because Arjunji has asked that question. So now Lord Shri Krishna, he says, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah. Vishaya vinivartante. Vishaya. In the objects of sense enjoyment. So Vishayaha vinivartante. One is refrained from. Those who are embodied, dehinaha, Vishaya vinivartante, niraharasya dehinaha. So those who have accepted a material body, the spirit soul, those who have accepted a temporary material body, so bodily demands, the senses, the demands of the senses and mind are always there. So Vishaya vinivartante, restricted, niraharasya, by negative restrictions, niraharasya dehinaha, rasavarjam, one may give up sense enjoyment, rasvarjam raso apiyasya, but the taste remains. Rasvarjam raso apiyasya, the taste rasaha apiyasya remains. Rasvarjam raso apiyasya param drishtva, but param drishtva, it is possible to give up, to completely give up such sense enjoyment when one has experienced param drishtva. Drishtva means seeing, param means something higher, superior or transcendental. So when one has experienced something higher, when one experiences, Swami Srila Prabhupada wrote in the translation, higher taste. So one can give up lower taste only. Swami Srila Prabhupada has always explained that one can give up lower taste when he has tasted something higher. So senses are addicted, senses and mind, they are addicted to material sense enjoyment. And only negation or negative restrictions, niraharasya, forceful restriction, Swami Srila Prabhupada always explain in his teachings. So forceful restrictions, do's and don'ts, as Swami Srila Prabhupada explained in the previous purports. So do's and don'ts are necessary for advancement on a spiritual path, yam niyam. But they are meant for neophytes. Those who are advanced, they do not have taste for such things. Those who have advanced or those who have tasted, as Swami Srila Prabhupada explained in the purport, those who have tasted the beauty of Lord Shri Krishna. And from the life of Swami Srila Prabhupada, we can see that he was always busy. Swami Srila Prabhupada and all the acharyas in Krishna consciousness, they're always busy in various activities of Krishna consciousness or various activities which are meant for the satisfaction of the Supreme Self, Supreme Lord, Lord Shri Krishna, devotional activities, loving devotional activities that they do not care for or they do not have taste for material sense enjoyment. Swami Srila Prabhupada always quote from the life of great emperor Yamunacharya. So Yamunacharya ji was a great emperor, but in the later part of his life he completely renounced everything and he engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. And he explains in one of his writings, Yad avadhi mama chet Krishna padarvindayo navanavaras dham nirantum asit tad avadhi nari sange smaryamane bhavati mukhavikar. Sange smaryamane, just by thinking. So in this material world, the highest sense enjoyment is the sex union, the sex life or sex union between man and woman is considered to be the highest sense enjoyment in this material world. And Yamunacharya ji, he is writing in one of his writings, he is writing Yadavadhi mama chet Krishna padarayando padaravindayo navanavaras dham nirantum asit. From the time he started devotional service to the Supreme Lord, his mind became attached to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord and he engaged himself in various devotional activities of Krishna consciousness. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pad Sevanam, Archanam, Bandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. He is explaining that he is getting new rasa or various mellows of transcendental enjoyment. He is experiencing higher taste, that whenever he think of earlier in his previous life, he was very much attached to sex enjoyment, sensual enjoyment, but whenever he thinks after getting engaged in devotional service to the Supreme Lord, whenever he even thinks of a union or association of a woman, he's explaining Bhavati Mukha Vikar, his mouth he curls in distaste. So that is Swami Srila Prabhupada is explaining, and Lord Shri Krishna is also explaining Vishaya Vinivartante Niraharasya Dehinaha, those who are embodied, they have taste for sense enjoyment because they have accepted a material body. Because the soul has accepted a material body, so the material body, the lower self, the material senses, the senses and the mind, they are always seeking material sense enjoyment. And only restrictions, forceful restrictions, will not help one to attain the divine consciousness, and there are chances that one can fall down. Swami Srila Prabhupada always take the example of Vishwamutra Muni also. He was also a great sage and he was meditating, but Indraji, so king of heaven Indra, he became afraid that by executing austerities and penances, Vishwamutra Muni, maybe he is trying to become the king of heaven in future. So he sent Menaka, and because of Menaka's interference, Vishwamutra Muni's meditation was broken. So Swami Srila Prabhupada he wrote in the purport that just by restricting the rules and regulations of various spiritual processes like Ashtanga Yoga, Yam Niyam Dharana, Yam Niyam Asan Dharana, Dhyan, all those things. So if one just follow rules and regulation to restrict oneself from sense enjoyment, it is not possible. There are chances that one may fall down. But those who have knowledge about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, those who have knowledge about Krishna, those who have knowledge about Krishna consciousness or activities of devotional service, they automatically loses taste for all such pale things. Swami Srila Prabhupada wrote in the purport, those who have tasted the beauty of Lord Shri Krishna. So Rasavarjam Rasoapyasya, giving up the lower taste, Rasvarjam, giving up the taste, Rasaha, sense of enjoyment, Api, although there is Rasoapyasya. So just by giving up taste, one do not become perfect. The taste remains. Just by giving up sense enjoyment, one does not. And Swami Srila Prabhupada wrote in the purport, it is like restricting a patient from eating from certain type of eatables. So if a doctor says to a diabetic man that you should restrict from sugar, he does not lose his taste for sugar. So just by forceful restriction, one cannot become perfect, or one cannot be fixed in Krishna consciousness or divine consciousness forcefully. But once one taste the higher taste, by experiencing, by drishtva, by seeing, param drishtva, param, something higher, something superior. When somebody experiences something superior or something higher, he is able to give up the lower engagement. So, rasavarjam rasoapyasya param drishtva nivartate. But seizing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, Seizing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. He is fixed in consciousness, has attained divine consciousness. He can be said one who seizes on the strength of one who seizes lower engagements, or one who seizes sense enjoyment by experiencing something higher. So it is very, very important. That's why for all the neophytes also, Swami Srila Prabhupada wrote in the purport, restrictions are also valuable or important for those who have some taste in Krishna consciousness. So Ado Shraddha is very, very important. Ado Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, Anartha Nivritti. So these are the various stages. With little faith, one tries to get association, or if one has little faith and he gets association of a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord, Sadhu Sangha, then he starts Bhajan Kriya in his life, which leads to Anartha Nivritti. And when one is freed from all anarthas or unwanted things in the heart, then one becomes fixed up. One's mind, one's consciousness become fixed up in Krishna consciousness. One attains the stage of Nishtha. So one attains the stage of Nishtha when one has seized, when one drishtva, param drishtva, when one has seen or experienced. Seeing does not only means by seeing through the eyes. So when one experiences, but seizing such engagement by experiencing a higher taste, Lord Shri Krishna is saying, Rasvarjam rasoapi asya. Rasvarjam rasoapi asya param drishtva nivartate. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah. Rasvarjam rasoapi asya param drishtva nivartate. The embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste for sense object remains. Rasopiyasya, rasahapiyasya. But seizing such engagement by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. So as one engages, those who are sadhakas, when they engage in activities of devotional service, then by the strength of those devotional service, or one experiences, or by the experience of tasting the rasa, the higher taste of Krishna consciousness, one is able to gradually, as one advances on the path of devotional service, as one advances gradually on the path of devotional service, one gradually gives up the lower taste. And once one become perfect in Krishna consciousness, or when one taste the beauty of Lord Shri Krishna by advancement in Krishna consciousness, then he automatically loses all taste for material sense enjoyment. Those things Swami Srila Prabhupada writes, when one when one actually tastes Krishna consciousness, or when one develops a taste for Krishna consciousness, then he automatically loses all taste for such pale things, such material sense enjoyment. So unless one is transcendently situated, Swami Srila Prabhupada is writing, it is not possible to cease from sense enjoyment unless one is transcendently situated. The process of restriction from sense enjoyment by rules and regulations is something like restricting a diseased person from certain types of eatables. The patient, however, neither likes such restrictions nor loses his taste for eatables. Similarly, sense restrictions by some spiritual processes like Ashtanga Yoga in the matter of Yam Niyam, Asana Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, etc. is recommended for less intelligent person who have no better knowledge. So those who are trying to become advanced in spiritual life, and they do not have Swami Srila Prabhupada is writing, less intelligent persons who do not have better knowledge, and they do not have knowledge about Krishna consciousness, they do not have knowledge about devotional service of the Supreme Lord. So such restrictions only such restrictions will not help one become perfect, or will help one attain divine consciousness or get fixed in samadhi. So, but one who has tasted the beauty of the Supreme Lord Krishna in the course of his advancement in Krishna consciousness no longer has a taste for dead material things. Because Krishna is life, soul, the soul and the super soul, they are above matter. As it is explained, as it was nicely Sankhya by the process of analysis. So the soul is above matter, and material enjoyment is actually lower, tuchha, for the soul. But because the soul has forgotten his relationship with the super soul, because the living being has completely forgotten his relationship with the Supreme Being, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so from time immemorial he is engaged into lower sense enjoyment, and he is habituated. Swami Srila Prabhupada always explains, habit is one's secondary nature. So because the embodied soul, Dehinaha, is engaged in sense enjoyment from time immemorial, so it is very, very difficult for him, for the soul to give up, for the embodied being to give up that sense enjoyment. But when one has knowledge about Krishna consciousness, and when one engages in the activities of devotional service, sadhana bhakti, then automatically one loses. And if one tastes something higher, if one experiences something higher, then one automatically loses all taste for such material sense enjoyments or pale things. So that experience happens only when one engages in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord, Prema Bhakti. So those who are unintelligent, or those who have those who do not have knowledge about Krishna consciousness, for them such things, restrictions are there for them. But one who has tasted the beauty of Supreme Lord Krishna in the due course of his advancement in Krishna consciousness no longer has a taste for dead material things. Therefore, restrictions are there for less intelligent neophytes in the spiritual advancement of life. But such restrictions are only good if one actually has a taste for Krishna consciousness. When one is actually Krishna conscious, he automatically loses his taste for pale things. So when one actually tastes Krishna consciousness, or as one advances on the path of Krishna consciousness, then one automatically loses taste for such things, such pale things. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinah rasvarjam rasoapiyasya param drishtva nivartate. The embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. Param drishtva nivartate. By ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. So those who have given up on behalf of their experience, or those who are fixed in Krishna consciousness, they do not have any taste for material sense enjoyment. So that is the sign of a person, or a symptom of a person who is situated in divine consciousness. He do not have any taste for lower material sense gratification. So very, very wonderful verse, and so many concepts, transcendental concepts, and beautiful explanation by Swami Srila Prabhupada, and so many divine transcendental concepts, Krishna conscious concepts in the beautiful purport of His Divine Grace Abhay Charnarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So in our next session we will take up, we'll try to understand the next verse. Till then I would like to stop this session here. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhans Parivrajagacharya Shrotarashad Shri Srimati Divine Grace Abhay Charnarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ji ki Jai. All glories to Krishna Kripa Murti, His Divine Grace Abhay Charnarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Lord Chaitanya. All glories to Lord Shri Krishna. All glories to Bhagavad Gita. All glories to Lord Chaitanya. All glories to Holy Name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.